to the Entertainah Talking Sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. And in this video, I'm going to talk about some of the news that came out yesterday, all of it being bad news for the most part, but news that maybe you don't want to go crazy about and overreact to. I'm sure some Giants fans are definitely getting nervous, specifically with Kadarius Toney. Word has come out now that Kadarius Toney has tested positive for COVID, which it is what it is. A lot of people may say he should have gotten his vaccine. Some people may say that's his personal choice. Regardless, he does have the virus, and he will not be at training camp at the beginning. I'll give my full opinion as to what I think about all of this and how it may impact his season with the New York Giants. I'm also going to touch on some of the players that were put on the PUP list. Some of the players were not a surprise at all, that of course being Saquon Barkley. We knew that he wasn't going to be, going at the start of camp. He's still rehabbing that very serious injury. The same for Kyle Rudolph. News came out after the New York Giants signed Rudolph that there was an injury there. The New York Giants medical staff reviewed it, and they came to the conclusion that they still wanted to push through with the contract, which leads me to believe that Rudolph will be able to go by the start of the season. But we're going to pull up some of the names on that PUP list. The biggest surprise, and the guy that a lot of Giants fans were up in arms about, and I guess a little nervous about, was Matt Peart. But let's talk about the exact list here and what some of those injuries exactly are. All 6 Giants on the PUP list remain on the active roster and can come off of it at any time during camp. So in the regular season, there's a specific time frame you're not allowed to come off. I think it's 6 weeks. I could be wrong on that, but there is a specific time frame. In training camp, you can come off the next day. And the other thing I want to say before I go into these names, if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure Leonard Williams was on this PUP list last year. It meant nothing. And there's just a theory that I have, and I'm not saying that these injuries are not legitimate, but word came out like a week ago that the first day of camp, only rookies were going to be able to report. The next day, players with injuries were going to be able to report, and then the rest of the players were not going to be able to report until the 27th. To me, these could be very minor setbacks, and these players may just want to get to the training facilities early to be able to train with the medical staff to make sure that they're in shape. So I'm not going to go crazy about any of these, but here's the players. That includes Barkley, obviously the knee injury. We all knew that was going to be the case. The same for Kyle Rudolph with the foot. Matt Peart with the back was the biggest surprise, and a lot of people are a little nervous about it. Obviously, Peart this year is going to take on a more expanded role. He's supposed to be our starting right tackle. Of course, the New York Giants brought back Nate Solder to be that swing tackle, and one could only assume if Peart is forced to miss any time, Nate Solder would get the call. Do I think this is serious? No. But we'll have to wait and see how everything plays out. They haven't even had contact drills yet. It's possible maybe he hurt his back while working out during the offseason, but I'm not going to read too much into it. It doesn't sound like many people feel like it's going to be anything too serious. In addition to that, the center Jonathan Harrison had a hamstring injury. Corner Aaron Robinson had a core muscle injury. He's, of course, a guy that's going to be competing potentially for a starting job opposite Darnay Holmes, so not the best of starts for him. And you always want your rookies, to be able to compete as quickly as possible. They need more work than anybody else. And the edge, O'Shane Ximines. So Ximines, coming off an injury last year, I guess one encouraging name that's not here is Lorenzo Carter, who many felt had a more serious injury than Ximines. He's not on the list, but the fact that Ximines is on that list due to a hamstring, we'll see if there's any serious, anything serious about it. Not the best of starts for him either, being that he has to kind of prove himself with all the additions the New York Giants have made this year on the defense. Last year, many felt that Ximines was going to have an expanded role with the New York Giants. Wasn't really the case. His snap count wasn't even really that high, even before the injuries that he sustained. So maybe the Giants feel like he's not the best fit in this defense. But of course, he's got this training camp to prove he's healthy, and he's ready to take a big step with the New York Giants. Now we're going to jump into Kadarius Toney. And before I read, I think this was from the Daily News. Before I read all the specifics, actually it was Giants Wire. There's been a couple things with Kadarius Toney, so I recognize that some fans may be nervous, right? He missed voluntary minicamp, even though supposedly it was a family matter as to why he missed a portion of, voluntary minicamp. Some felt like he hadn't had his contract signed yet, but others have come out and said that I've talked to that he could have signed a provision that still would have guaranteed him the money on the contract. Who knows? But, of course, that's a little bit of a red flag, right? When he was, I think, the only rookie that was drafted that was not at voluntary minicamp, at least in its entirety, and he's your first-round pick. Joe Judge is a guy that, he's a guy that I think appreciates hard work, guys that buy in. So probably didn't get off to the best of starts with Joe Judge. Not that I'm going to go crazy, right? Odell Beckham had a reputation for missing these things all the time. He got off to a very rocky start, mainly due to injury in his rookie season before he took the field and he really took off. So am I going to go crazy with all this? No. Joe Judge, though, may look at it as this. And listen, everybody has their own opinion when it comes to the vaccine. I personally took it, but some people may not, and I get it. Everybody has their own personal choice, and that's fine for Toney. Obviously, there was a new rule that came out with the NFL, though, that now if a player is not vaccinated and conducts the virus and players on the Giants get it, and they're forced to miss a game, you have to forfeit that contest. So I don't think that Joe Judge is not going to make sure that these players are either vaccinated or staying healthy. And the way that Judge may look at this, and I could be wrong, he may look at it like, well, okay, he didn't get the vaccination, but he also didn't keep himself out of harm's way. I'm sure Judge isn't thrilled with this to start camp. And from what I heard, it's going to be upwards of 2 weeks. Now, the practices start in a week. And I think it's imperative for a rookie wide receiver, Kadarius Toney, especially a guy that really doesn't have a defined role yet. We don't know how the New York Giants are going to utilize this guy to get out there and get as many reps as he possibly can and to develop chemistry with his quarterback and Daniel Jones. So not the best of starts for the rookie wide receiver. Am I going to flip out and go crazy? No. But is it ideal? No. You want your rookies to be out there as much and as quickly as possible. In accordance with league protocols, Toney is now isolating and attending team meetings remotely. He will remain on the reserve COVID-19 list until he tests negative back-to-back, which means he'll likely miss the start of training camp. The positive COVID-19 test is just the latest setback for Toney. During rookie minicamp, he dealt with a footwear issue and suffered a minor injury. He later held out of OTAs because his contract had not been signed and then missed some time due to a family emergency. So, I don't think it's because of this one thing why some fans may be getting nervous. It's been a bunch of little things. Now, at the end of the day, when he laces up the cleats, if he performs on Sunday, these things will be long gone. Nobody will be thinking about it, right? But right now, when there's not a lot to talk about, and yes, it is important for rookies to get some exposure with the team, learn their role, get practice time with Daniel Jones. I think that's something imperative both for Jones and Kadarius Toney. So whether or not Kadarius Toney is at fault here, that's not really the story, at least for me. I just think it's super unfortunate because this is really when you want to be able to get your reps and get ready for the season for a rookie wide receiver. And like I said, this isn't your typical 6'3", go out there on the outside and run your route type wide receiver. This is a guy that I would assume the New York Giants are going to use every way possible, whether it's kick returns, punt returns, in the backfield as a running back, wildcat, in the slot, on the outside. He's going to have a very complex role with the New York Giants. Going to kind of be a jack of all trades type weapon. So, not a great start. Am I going to flip out? No. We'll see how he progresses as camp goes along. Obviously, you want to make sure he's healthy, and that's the first thing that should come to most fans' minds. But I'm sure he will be. Hopefully he's back out there in about 2 weeks and he's ready to go, and we get to see him in the first preseason game against the New York Jets. But there you have it. As far as Peart goes, I guess we'll see. I'm sure more stuff will come out on it. I'm not going to read too much into it. Solder, I think, could step in a pinch and give you satisfactory play. But, of course, we want to see Peart progress this year and hopefully be that starting right tackle for the next 10 years for the New York Giants. As always, guys, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.